No, don't start like that. Hello and welcome back. I can never start with it. Oh, absolutely no hoots given at all. Because we are here, episode 94, and we're not hooting around. We're not going to flipping hoot about anymore. Episode 94. It's March the 7th when I'm recording this, but you'll have it in a couple of days. I'm just letting you know where I am. I'm here. I'm here, Khan. That's where I am. Yeah, welcome back to the old podcast that I have going on. Do you know what's funny is saying to people that you have a podcast, it feels, in regular life, if someone's asking me about stand-up or whatever, and I happen to mention that, just saying, well, I have a podcast, and it just feels really disgusting coming at my face. Just because everyone has one, and I just feel like I think I must be a contrarian to my bones. I just don't want to be. I'm a hipster. That's what a contrarian is these days, isn't it? But I suppose hipsters all do the same thing, but it's just all about them getting there first. I don't really understand any of it, to be honest. What was I saying about that, though? So we're back for the episode and podcast, yeah. I often find that if I know someone and then they find out that I do stand-up, then they start saying stuff like, I'll say something and they'll go, oh, that was funny. I go, thanks. And they go, you should say that on stage. Did you say that on stage? I'm like, no, I just said it then. And then if I say something that isn't supposed to be funny, they go, oh, I wouldn't say that on stage. That's not funny. It's like, yeah, I wasn't asking you your opinion on what's funny and what's not. Do you know what I mean? Because if you tell me you're a physiotherapist, every time you squat down to pick something up, I don't go, oh, that's not correct posture, is it? I wouldn't do that at work. Every time you stretch in a certain way, I wouldn't go, oh, I hope we don't teach that. That's not healthy, is it? Huh? Every time you crack your neck, aren't you doing some damage to L2 on your spine there? So listen, physiotherapists, keep my name out your mouth. No, but if someone could help me, my neck hurts a lot. Yeah, because I'm almost 30. I don't know if I've mentioned it 100 times. So the next few weeks in the world of England, I hear that April the 12th, lots of things are going to change. Shall we look it up? Shall we look up the road map? Don't you just hate all the words that they use? The road. It's just because they make it so dramatic. Do you know how last week I was on about the whole Kiss the Tory thing? Well, I like the idea of the Conservatives bringing out, like, in the next election, they go, like, they give me something that's like, one of the policies is something like, we'll legalise weed and it'll boost the economy and legal will be legal. Oh my God, legal will be wiggle. Oh my God, that's so good now that I can smoke all the time because legal will be legal. Yeah, weed will be legal. Say if the Boris was like, I can't do an impression. I don't want to try to do an impression. He's messed up a bit. Apparently, that's what they say. And but if you just went, if you vote for me again, though, it's legal, baby. Blaze up 420 every day. Then I'd like to just vote for them, just so that every girl that's ever said, never kissed a Tory, then I want to ring them up like it's like, do you know the call if you have an STI and you're like, hi, oh, this is awkward. So basically I got a test recently and I had herpes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But listen, it's herpes, so either you give it to me or I give it to you. I don't know, but you guys have checked out that I want to make that call, but it's like, hi, do you remember when we, I know we didn't really take it very far, but we kissed and that, and I know that you very devoutly say fuck the Tories, but, and you also, I remember you saying that you've never kissed a Tory, and you have a t-shirt and it said never kissed a Tory on it. Pretty sure you posted it on your Instagram and stuff. Well, recently I voted for the Tories, so you've got herpes. So anyway, all that beside, I did give you herpes. So not only did you now kiss a Tory, but you've also got herpes. I've not got herpes. I shouldn't have to clarify that. I'm a virgin. I'm a Christian man. I didn't look at up the roadmap. I just got distracted by my own mind. So let's see about this. I'll go more about how my mind distracts me if you stick around. Thanks for joining me once again. I found out from the last solo podcast that I did that surprisingly more people watch it than I realised. So, big ups to you for tuning in. So, stage 2. No earlier than 12th of April. No earlier. What do they mean by that? Do they mean that it definitely won't happen by the 12th of April, but also maybe not even the 12th of April? Anyway, all shops, all of them, allowed to be open. Close contact services include hairdressers. Oh man, I'm going to get that shit going on. Restaurants and pubs allowed to open to serve food and alcohol to customers sitting outdoors. So that whole week of April the 12th is going to be absolute madness. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to be, let's go out. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to observe it all. I'm going to walk around Manchester. It's just over there. I'm going to walk around it and I'm going to observe you all. You know, like little animals just smashing into each other. Because they might try and do that rule thing again, but you know for certain that everyone's going to be mingling. We've got the vaccine though. That's what you can just say. But I think there is a little passport. Someone showed me the other day, they said they got a card and it said, I've had the vaccine. That's madness. I want one. Not because I had the vaccine, just I want one. No, but I don't know what my opinion on it is. Listen, when it's time and someone goes, all right, you ready? I'll probably go, all right. You know what I mean? Gyms and spas can reopen, as can zoos, theme parks, libraries and community centres. Members of the same household can take a holiday in England in self-contained accommodation, as opposed to what? Self-contained, as in like it's just you're on your own, right? All right. Weddings up to 15 people can say, no one gives a shit about that. Then 5 days after my 30th birthday, 17th of May, people can meet in groups of 30 outdoors. 6 people two households can meet indoors. Pubs, restaurant, and other hospitality venues can seat customers indoors. Up to 30 people can attend weddings. Remaining outdoor entertainment such as outdoor theatres and cinemas can open. Indoor entertainment such as museums, theatres, cinemas and children's players can open. Performances and large events can restart, but with limits on audience numbers. So, that means that on the April the 12th, there's a good chance that perhaps some outdoor comedy shows could start. Perhaps. Maybe not though, because maybe it's just for food. Unless they're like, well, if you have food, then someone can stand over there and go, so this lockdown's mad, isn't it? You spend so much time on your own, you start going crazy. Craziest thing I've done this entire time is start a new language on Duolingo and then give up. So perhaps it won't start by then. Perhaps gigs won't. Well, maybe they will. Outdoor ones, limited people, limited amount of gigs there are. You're probably not going to get gigs regularly. I'll be working more like I have been doing. So, say if I catch 1 gig a week, that's pretty good, that. Just while they're outdoors, sorry. Then when they're indoors, from the 17th of May, hopefully Comedy Vault will be back. Hopefully just gigs will be back. And life will be better. But that's in May. Oh my God, that's so soon. Stage 4, no earlier than 21st of June. All legal limits on social contact will be removed. No legal limits on the number of people who can attend weddings, funerals, and other life events. Nightclubs will be allowed to reopen. Yeah. So it looks like by June they want the world to be back to normal. In England. My world. So we'll have to see what happens there. Because the whole... I thought it'd be like June or July before things even start opening. And this job that I got, because it's shift work and stuff, I imagine that perhaps by the 6 months I might have been able to figure something out where I have a bit more of a stable schedule so I can do more gigs and stuff. So we'll have to figure that out because it's coming sooner than you think, you know. I'm also going to be moving out of here and living with Nick, the producer Nick, my pal Nick. I'm going to be living with him soon, so we're going to have to find a place to live in the next few months. So it's April in a couple of days. By the time you're seeing this, it perhaps might be right at the beginning of April, it might be. And then it's May, and then it's June. Damn, man, that's 3 months away. I'm kind of panicking a little bit. Do you know what's mad is, for months and months I begged for it to just be back to normal. And now that it's almost back to normal, kind of scared. I heard someone say that people will have a harder time adjusting back to regular life than they will when they adjusted from regular life to lockdown. Because in lockdown, you just had things taken from you. You can't do this anymore. You can't do this anymore. And you sat with your thoughts. You're like, oh, but you get things are removed. Whereas now it's going to be like we've kind of gotten used to this dampened version of life that doesn't have much going on, and suddenly, bosh, life's back to normal again. Ish. But still, it's going to be quite intense. Damn, man. Kind of scared. Is anyone else scared? Write in comments. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening, I suppose. I'm going to be trying to find a new place. I'm going to build up to some good old guests for the next 6 episodes. Try and really get to that 100 mark. Good, in a good way. So we'll see. I'll keep checking in with you. I missed an episode last week. I've been busy, man. I'll tell you what I've been busy doing. I was doing an induction at work. So I was at this job, temporary to permanent contract, right? And I think that they do that because you go through an agency and they go, what's it like, this guy? Let's figure him out first. And then I did an interview and I got past it and stuff. And then they went, right, we're putting you on a training week, an induction week. The same week that you would have done had you started through the company rather than through an agency. So I did this induction week this week. And it was mostly in a classroom. And what I've noticed since I've been an adult is I'm better at schooling, I'm better at education. Yet I'm still fidgety ADHD class clown guy like I used to be, but I'm also apple on the desk, sit at the front, hand up, constantly answering the questions, teacher's pet, which is pretty good. It's an improvement. It's taken me many years to get to this point, but I'm finally able to, I'll do school again. Give me school again. I'll do it. If I could go back with the knowledge I had now. Would you though? Like if you could go back to 11 years old and start high school again. Obviously you land back in your 11-year-old body, but you have all the knowledge you have now, which is also crazy because you could just write what wasn't out by the time I was 11. You could write There Will Be Blood. Terrible choice of film to pick because there's probably a book already. And yeah, well, anyway, you could write Interstellar. Before I bet Chris Nolan, like I know him. I bet he'd already had that idea by then. It would be he'd be like, this is some crazy plagiarism. He's read my mind. But anyway, yeah, you could do like Back to the Future. Remember all the game scores and win like that, like Buck. Is that his name, Buck? Anyway, you could do that, or you could just go back with the knowledge of. You just see the people at your school and you go, I am so much more mature and smarter than that guy. You could come out with stuff that just impresses people. You know how to navigate around. Oh, do you? Because I don't know how to hang out with an 11-year-old. Like hang out with and be amongst loads of them. Because I'm 30 almost. So if you did go back to your 11-year-old body with the memory you had now, would you not just be like, these people are boring. You'd probably be a recluse. You'd just be this kind of super smart recluse guy. And by super smart, I mean, I'm not super smart now, but if an 11-year-old had my life experience and wisdom on life, I suppose they probably seem super smart. Although if they also went, you've been learning algebra from the basics of algebra. Why don't you tell me some of that? It's as if I would have lost it all in 1 year. Because 30-year-old me doesn't know nothing about protractors, about hexagons, about long division. I do apologise for the echo that's in this room. I'm going to have to try and do something about that. That's the next step. Fix the echo. So yeah, I've been doing this induction. What I've noticed in all the courses I've done as an adult, like I did a lifeguard course, two swim teacher courses, a swim coaching course, and then this one for this job. Like I said, I feel like I'm better at being a good student, yet I'm also trying to make the class laugh and say silly things, but also be like, know when to shut up and stuff like that, but also answering the questions. I'll volunteer. I'm confident enough to just stand up and have you do a demonstration on me. So yeah, I've kind of been teacher's pet, but this is a good thing that happened. We were doing this test, right? And he gave the test out and he said, you've got it. It's 33 marks on the test. You've got to get 25 or more. I start doing it. I get to a certain question and I go, oh, I don't know about that. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I think that's right. And I'm going back over it. I do the test fairly fast and I read over it again. And I'm like, I don't know about that one. I'm going to go with that one. I think that's the right one. Oh, I don't know. So I give him the thing and I'm like, I'm an idiot. I'm going to fail. And then he goes, everyone's passed. Some of you, just about. And I was like, that's me, that. And he went, do you want to know who's passed? I mean, not passed. Do you want to know who got full marks? 2 of you got full marks. It was Mr. Sutton. And I was like, what? That's what I was like. I was super shocked. And I was like, this has never happened. I turned to the class. This has never happened before. When I leave, I'm going to ring my mum up and tell her. And then people laughed and stuff. 100% on the test I got. Guess what I did though? I left. I'd finished the course. I rang my mother up. I said, listen, rip up the old report cards. Send me to Mensa. Get me a chess set. Buy a violin. get me a tuxedo. Mum? I told her, I said, your son finally got good at schooling. It only took 29, almost 30 years. I don't know why I'm saying it like this. So that's pretty good, that, isn't it? But then today, I went for a coffee, and I go in the coffee place. They know me now by this point. They're like, oh, you're right. Oat flat white. And I go, yeah, you know it. And then I'm like, do you know what, today I'll also get the bagel. And then they get me the bagel, and I go, they give me the coffee, and I go, I'm just going to wait outside for that bagel. So I go outside, and my bike is in front of the menu on the window. And then a sweet family comes over, a mother and a father, bohemian-looking 30-something cool parents, and the little daughter was there. She had a little crispy snot Hitler mustache, like just in that area there, the crispiest, snottiest little mustache she had, just all dried on snot. She was very cute and that. She had some cool joggers on, like yellow joggers. I remember thinking that. And they said they were going to move the bike. No, they walked up to my bike and they went, oh, sorry, do you need to? And then she went, let the man get to his bike. And I went, no, it's all right, I'm waiting, don't go ahead. So they walk over, and then the girl keeps looking at me, and then she goes, hello, are you all right? And I was like, hello, how are you doing? And she was like, good, thank you. And I was like, having a nice day? And she went, yes, thank you. And then she goes, I'm very clever, you know. And then her parents start laughing, and then they're like, oh, I'm very humble. And I was like, oh, are you now? Like that. But did she get 100% on her test, though? That's what I'm wondering. Do you know what I should have done? I should be like, all right, well, you think you're clever, are you? Explain gravity. Because if you can explain it better than I can, basically, there was a guy called Isaac Newton's, and he was a virgin his entire life until he died. But one day, he invented an apple tree, and he shook it, and an apple landed on his head. And then when it was on his head, remember the famous thing where they shoot an arrow through, and it sticks to the tree? Well, someone was about to shoot an arrow right into his face, and he goes, that's gravity! And then he shot him in the face, and he died a virgin. Look it up, though. He did die a virgin. Ben told me that one time. So how could she explain that to me? I am all over the place on this one. You know what? The last solo one I did, I was buzzing. No hoots given. Pew, 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 pew. Don't like that I just did that. But sometimes you can say a thing and it doesn't land. It's just weird. But then it's funny to just address that it was weird. Huh? On this induction and stuff, there's a lot of stuff about risk assessments and all that palaver. And as I'm getting older, I used to just hear that stuff and be like, ugh, paperwork bullshit, health and safety bullshit. But on this course, I was like, okay, I kind of get it now. I'm kind of old enough to accept why that's important. But it made me remember when I was doing media in college, didn't pass the course, didn't finish it. But when I was doing media in college, the tutor, she knew that I would just cut corners and not do paperwork and stuff. And she tried to bargain with me about how to motivate me to do them. And she used Martin Scorsese, my favourite director at the time, as an example. And she goes, now, I know you like shooting, I know you're really into this, and I can tell you're passionate about it, but this paperwork is necessary stuff to do. And I'm like, and then she goes, no, listen, do you think that before Martin Scorsese shoots the scene, he just goes ahead and does it without filling out a risk assessment? And at the time I was like, yeah, I get your point. But now, 10 years later, maybe 11, I'm like, Martin Scorsese doesn't do risk assessments. He has a person to do that. Awful analogy. What's even more awful is it took me 10 years to realise it was an awful analogy. That's the first half. What I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to put a clip in the middle of an old episode from episode 11. I put a little clip in there of this thing that me and Nick did, and I watched it recently, and I found it dead funny. So Enjoy.
What did you draw?
Woohoo!
Some paintings. Paint skits.
I don't hear you.
No, I think he's drawn something.
You draw
Hola.
me on the paper?
You Spanish.
Yes, okay.
You Spanish.
I wait.
Hola. Spanish, Portuguese. Hello. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Okay. I wait.
Fuck you! Oh, that's I mean, you need.
Hey, did you enjoy that bit in the middle? That was really good, that wasn't it? And what it is, what's really interesting about is when I start back in the second half is that I can keep continuing talking and seeing if I can stop talking and just not have to stop talking. That's what I mean is I want a continuous stream of actual dialogue that I have going. And imagine if I did the entire second half like this, if I just didn't stop speaking and I just carried on seeing what would come out of my mind and just seeing if I could just talk about that bottle there and how water is H2O. I can't do it. It's really difficult to do that. All right. So, I'll tell you something that's been happening. I was in Manchester today, right? And let me tell you about this. I'll tell you now. There was a protest going on. And let's remove what it's about. Let's just not even worry about that. Although, I will say one thing about it. It wasn't about Black Lives Matter. It wasn't a Black Lives Matter march. But one guy had a Black Lives Matter picket. He had one. And I was like, you can't just bring the picket from the last march you went to. Like, he turns up at a march for trans rights and he's got one that says every child deserves life. Because it's like, what? What are you on about? Pick your battles, pal. Don't. What he did was, moments before the march, he was like, shit! Oh! Have you got any stuff in? Have you got a pen and a big A3 piece? And use the Black Lives Matter one again. Do you think that'll... Yeah, I guess it is. It does mean that they always matter. Alright, I'll just use that one again. It's lazy. Make a pick. If you're going to do it, then make a proper picket. But my issue, right? Whatever the march was about, whatever the protest was about, absolutely fine to protest. Go ahead. But they were doing it on the tram tracks at St. Peter's Square, on the tram tracks. And for maybe 20 minutes that I saw, they were holding loads of trams up full of people. They were transphobic, right? Trams rights matters. Stop it. I'm being silly now. Right, listen. The people on the trams... I've been on a tram or a bus or a train before, and I've been like, I need to get to this job today. Because I need to get to the interview for this job because I have no money. And the last bit of money I'm spending is on the travel to this job, and I have to be there on time. I've set off an hour early, even though I'm not sure how far away it is. And I'm probably gonna. It says half an hour on the app, but what if there's a lot of like, oh, I walked to the wrong place or I get on the wrong stop? I'll give myself some time, maybe an hour and a half before. But on that journey though, it's you're anxious and you're panicking. You're like, I hope everything goes smoothly. Imagine if then you're like, what's going on? Why we stopped? And there's a protest going on for half an hour. Those people at that protest, whatever they're protesting for, what about fucking Joe Bloggs on the tram there trying to get to his job? Or her? What about Joanne Bloggs? She needs to get to her interview for her new sidekick job. She's going to be a medium. And you're going to stop her from doing that because you're... Do you know what they were doing as well? They were going... I want to know why you're such a cunt. And they're obviously on about the politicians or whatever. But pick a better song. Pick a better song. Why that song? You just make yourself... And do you know what? The chick with the megaphone, she looked like her name was Anarchy. Like she changed it by default, whatever it's called, to Anarchy. Anarchist. What, Mrs. Archist? First name Anne. And she's got the blue, bright jet blue mohawk. She's got a leather jacket with an anarchy symbol and 100 other badges. She's got boots on. They always wear big boots because they have to run at the protest from the police. But do you know what I thought it was? It was a lot of just, even if, like I'm still saying, whatever the protest was for, removing that, some of the characters I saw there, I feel like a lot of those people are just doing it because they want that identity. They just saw some photos from the 70s where people are in the streets and they're protesting for their rights, and it's just some crazy riot going on. And they're like, yeah, I saw the cover of a Ramones album once. I like that Rage Against the Machine one. That guy who protested, that monk, set himself on fire. That's what I'm going to dress. I'm going to dress fully in fire. What's his style? What would you say? His style's kind of like burning to death. It's kind of like being engulfed in flames. It's really in this summer in Australia. It's amongst the wildfires. Speaking of the streets, that's a good segue. Today I did my second documentary for Mickey McKay, fellow comedian Mickey McKay, who's doing a film production course at uni. And the first one he got me to do was a one about, it was just like a character study, and it was about me doing stand-up. Here's a clip of it. Educating Essex. Everyone seen that?
What about sex education? That's good.
Well, that's not part of my joke though, is it? So, I think after my dad died, I realised that I had to make jokes about it so that people felt comfortable around me. And my dad died when I was a kid, like 6 years old. So I reckon after that, a couple of years after that, I would have just started making jokes about it. And that shocked kind of humour, where people are like, oh, I can't believe he's joking about that. And I think that's why I gravitate to that kind of humour, to be honest. It is true, my dad is dead. And you might say like, oh, it's a shame that my dad will never see me succeed. Yet Dan's dad is alive and will watch him fail his entire life. The actual first experience before actually doing stand-up was doing the father of the bride speech at my sister's wedding. I'm not going to click back out because I realised I copied Rick Glassman. You know who Rick Glassman is? He has a sick podcast, and he does that. He clicks in and out of things, and he cuts to things. It's good anyway. But I just realised I ripped him off. Ripped him right off, all right. But anyway, so I did my second one for him today, and it was he asked me, it's called The Hidden Homeless, all right? And it was about, he's interviewing people who are, they used to be homeless, or whatever it is. Yeah, he used to be homeless because he didn't want to exploit people who are currently homeless, getting a camera in the face. I see this a lot in Manchester. Here is a thing, and then they're filming. Or like, here's a cup of Joe and some change and an egg butty. Now let me video you and put it on I help no. So I don't like that. Don't do that. Don't do it for your own personal gain. Do it because you're helping someone. If you are going to, like I get, you take a photograph of him in black and white and it's all crisp and lovely, and then you write out a piece on him. And just at the very bottom, written by blah, blah, blah. Whatever. And you do like a study on him. Because it's not you in the picture. You're not in there with him like, I'm helping him. Look how good I am. Give me points, God. And by points, God, I mean the God of social media. Give me all the likes. That's what they want it for. But anyway, so I did this thing, this documentary style thing, this documentary that he's doing for uni. It's not, I can't imagine he's going to be releasing it as a feature. and inducting it to Cannes Festival. That's right, Cannes, not Cannes, you uncultured swines. It's Cannes. It's James Caan Festival, even though it's spelt differently to James Caan. Shaka Khan Festival. Mickey McKay is doing this documentary, right? And he came to interview me. He brought this sick-ass camera. Here's a picture of it. Sick-ass camera, right? And he interviewed me, and it's about my time of that. And he was basically saying, like, he's trying to show the side of homelessness that you don't know about. And homelessness can be... I prefaced it right at the beginning by saying... There was a time when I was without a home, and I suppose that means homeless. But I don't want to discredit real homeless people who are having a real tough time, because it wasn't that bad for me. I mean, it wasn't pleasant, it wasn't fun, it wasn't ideal, but it wasn't as bad as some people I see in Manchester. And I did that for him, and it was very interesting. I'd like to see a bit of it and what it's like. So that was interesting, having to talk about all that stuff. It brought up a load of stuff where I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And funnily enough, I talked to my mum the day before about that. I can't remember how I got into the subject of it, but I basically explained why I wrote the freestyle rap. It wasn't even freestyle. Why I wrote the rap down about my stepdad that he found and thought was a letter and got me kicked out for. If you haven't heard that story already, then... I've told it many times. I had it in my stand-up act, and it's in the documentary now, and maybe you'll see that, maybe you won't, I don't know. But if you want to know, if you're like, I've never heard the story, comment, tell me the story, you whack job. Say that. But so that was interesting. That's what I've been up to, other than work and stuff, and just, I don't know. I'll tell you what I did have. I had a moment of peace. Right, what I mean by that, I was going to meet someone, and I'm stood outside of a house, right? Well, a flat, apartment block. And I'm looking. It's in this really nice place in Manchester. And I'm looking off at these buildings, these big buildings. And the clouds are just passing nicely. And it's a nice evening. There's lights. And it just was awesome. And the moon's there. And there was just this quiet moment where it was just real quiet. I could just hear the canal, just the wishy-washy water. And I couldn't really hear many people. I could just hear the odd car in the distance pass. And I just took it in. I just soaked it in, man. I just stood there. And I was just looking, and I was like, a moment of peace. Because, you know what? I feel like I'm trying to soak in life a bit more. When you're in a moment, don't go and check your phone. Don't do this. Just soak it in. Just take it in like a crab. You know, like crabs do. They really live in the moment. Well, I suppose they do. But I felt good because usually I've got headphones in. I've got just the inner monologue playing. If I don't have headphones in, even if I do, it's just the conversations you have, or I'm stood outside of a place and I'm smoking a cigarette, and then I imagine the security guy coming out and going, "Hey mate, clear off here. We don't want you smoking that and being outside. You're in," and then me arguing with them about it. And all I did was just pass. Like, I was stood outside the building, and in my head I had this argument with this guy and was ready for him. And just these weird scenarios, and the inner monologue is playing. And if I'm anxious, this is how I know I'm anxious. I start to recognize it. What I do, I don't know if this is a thing. I should Google it or something. But what I do, right, I will repeat things in my head over and over. So it could be a song. So it could be like, well, at one point it was the Cheeky Girls. We are the cheeky girls, you are the cheeky boys. I think that is the words, and I'm a cheeky man. You are the cheeky thoughts in my cheeky mind. Cheeky, 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 cheeky. And whatever it is, it's usually an annoying song. Like at work, there was a kids program that was playing, and at one point they had this song about football, and it must be an American show because the song went, "I'm a soccer rocker. I'm a soccer rocker. I'm a soccer rocker. And I rock at soccer. I'm a soccer rocker. I'm a soccer rocker. I'm a soccer rocker. And I rock at soccer. And it drove me mad. I wanted to turn it off, but you can't do. They're watching it. So I then just sang that in my head over and over and over in moments of anxiety. Or I'll repeat a phrase. Like I'll be walking somewhere and I'll be worrying about stuff, and then I'll go like, I wonder what time that's open till. Is that open till 2? Is that open till 2? And in my head I'm going, is that open till 2? Is that open till 2? Is that open till 2? Show me the blueprints. Show me the blueprints. If everyone's seen The Aviator, I think that's an obsessive compulsive thing, isn't it? I'm not saying I have OCD. What I'm saying, well, I probably have a little bit of it. Because if you have a few of the other things, I'm not going, oh, I have OCD, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. What I'm saying is, there's probably elements of that, and that's where it comes out. It's when I'm a bit anxious and I'm not just living in the moment. I'm just going, does it close at 2? Does it close at 2? Does it close at 2? I don't know, just stuff like that. That's kind of a bad example, but it's not as fast as that, but I will just repeat a thing in my head. Yeah. So it was good. Just taking that. I can picture it in my head and how I felt in the moment. And it's good. And you know what? I'm doing counselling now. I did one session of it over Zoom. It was kind of odd, but I hope that's going to be good. I did one session of it, and the guy kind of got to know me. I ended up saying, like, going, oh, I wonder if myself, just because I was speaking out, just going, I wonder if that's why I do that then. And then he was kind of just learning about me. And he was doing this test where it's like, from 0 to 5, how often do you feel this thing? And then I'm like, 1. And then he's like, what about this thing? And I'm like, 4, definitely 4. And he's like, what about this one? I'm like, 0. And the next one I'm like, 6. Can you choose 6? And he's like, no, it goes up to 5. And I'm like, 6. But I had to miss it because of that induction and all this overtime I did almost 50 hours of overtime last week. Well, not overtime, just work, which is the most I've done in many, many time. Long time. So the therapy part and the podcast last week, couldn't do those. But this week I've got another session booked in, and we'll see how that goes, man. Hopefully I'll figure out what's going on in my head so I can just do life better, you know what I mean? We'll see how it goes. We've not got too much longer left. Don't worry, you're almost there. There's going to be a silly ending. And then I'll put a nice thing that I watched recently that's kind of motivational for anyone who is into stand-up or anything creative, or even just if you're trying to succeed at something. I'm going to put a little clip that I've watched from a different podcast in at the end, and it'll make you go. I just feel like a lot of people should hear it. So stick around for that. I was thinking recently about stuff from when I was a kid in the 90s and the early 2000s, and how different just things are now. One of the things, I don't think things are different now, but I just can't imagine that this happens much. When I used to go swimming as a kid with my neighbour, he would take a load of us in his work van, and he would take him and his son and the other kid who's his age, like they were 2 or 3 years younger than me, the other 2 kids. And he would take those 2 in the front. They would sit in the front of the van with him, and he'd be in the driver's seat. And then me, no dad, stepdad guy, just a little shitbag, he was like, he'll be all right. He's a bit older than you 2. Get in the back. And I would sit in the back of a van just on a little, there's no seatbelt. I just sat in a little box in a dark tool van. And I can just hear these spanners and stuff flying around and drawers opening and closing. And he'd be turning corners and it's just darkness. I get in the van and I'm just sat in a tool shed pretty much. I'm just sat in a toolbox, just, I hope we don't die. And then we just arrive at swimming, and he'd open the doors and we're at swimming now. But imagine if that would have gone wrong. I don't know if did anyone do that shit like that, or if that happens these days. I feel like people wouldn't do that. But I bet round here in Salford they would. What am I on about? What other stuff was mad? I think I shouldn't have done this section if I didn't have enough stories. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you go into something and you go, that's going to be good, I'll talk about that. But it doesn't always happen so easily. and then you just come to a complete stop almost, and you struggle. Do you know what it is? When I have notes, right, I get through them, and then I feel like I'm done then chatting. But it doesn't have to be like that. I can just go with it. You know what I mean? Right. So, rather than just try and pluck something out of the sky, I'm going to close it up nicely. I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm going to have you listen to that. I didn't keep you waiting for too long. You're going to be hearing that nice... You're going to be all motivated shortly. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm going to get more guests on. It's just hard at the moment with working more, and the fact that it's still up and down about, it's illegal to be having people in your home and stuff. So it's tricky. It's a bit tricky. People don't want to do that. So, but I have got some guests in mind. I might do some Zoom ones, but I thought for now I'd just check in with you, see how it's going. I notice people are watching. 70 plus people are watching. Sometimes it gets about 6 likes on average. Gets a couple of comments. Why don't you throw a comment down there or a thumbs up? Not only on the like button, but just write something in there. And it's not me going give me attention. It's more give me something to work with here. If I know what people are liking, what they don't like, or sections that I should do, I kind of want to do a section where it's no papa, no problemo. No papi, no problemo. And it's just little lessons that people with dads, or that dads teach to their kids, that those of us who grew up without dads might need to know. So I might get some people who I know who are dads, or who had dads, and they had these important bits of wisdom that they were given from the fathers, and I might have them tell me what they are, and each week read one out. That's what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a post on some sort of social media. I'm going to go, give me some bit of wisdom that your dad told you. Or that if you're a father, give me a bit of wisdom that you're going to teach your child. And I'll share this on the podcast. It'll be my little section where I feel like I'm putting some good out there in the earth, in the stratosphere. So remember, ban the nipple. Fucking don't be camera shy. The last mouse gets the cheese. The early bird catches the girth. Stay loyal to your grandma. She's going to need you for the last few years. And just generally stay clean. Shower often enough that you don't smell like a horse's bladder. Because they say piss like a racehorse, and I imagine it's because there's a lot of piss stored in there. And sometimes when I smell you, pal, it kind of smell like a bag of piss that's been stored in there for ages. There's been a race on. And now comes Chariot's death wish, and then back onto Elephant's armpit, and you're one of the horses as a jockey on your back, and you smell like a bag of piss that's been through a race and lost a guy a load of money. You smell like it, so stay clean, everyone. Shower regularly. When you're in a ladies' shower, you're at your girlfriend's house, you're at your mum's house, you're at some dame's house that you've just gone to see. When you're in a bathroom, pick up all the different products that she has. That one smells like cherries. Oh, coconut and albus oil. What a weird combination. What's this one? It smells like nectar. Eucalyptus nectar. Why don't you put it all over you? Imperial lather that up. Get it in the pits. Trim your body hair. Put on lipstick. Put on eyeshadow. Put Put glitter on your face. Get a wig that's red and long. It goes down to your nipples. Get tassels for your nipples. Become an exotic dancer. Move to Cameroon. When you're in Cameroon, be the only white, trans, red-haired prostitute. Did I say that? Exotic dancer. I don't put them both in the same category. Don't worry. I just was seeing where I was going with that. In Cameroon. And enjoy yourself.
And worked his ass off. But like those guys, watching them, like, you know, it's all where your mindset was. You could be inspired by them, or you could end up like, you could be so hating yourself that you resented them. Like, I didn't have that with Kevin, but like me and Dane started off at the same time, and it was impossible not to compare. And who has that? What's that quote? Comparison is the death of joy. Yeah, I forget who came up with that. So that's like what, you know, my generation was all doing with each other. I mean, it wasn't just specifically Dane or something like that, but when Dane was like skyrocketing up, not when he did the super finger shit. I was settled into who I was then, more like in the 90s, like when he would get like, you know, like an MTV showcase, get a deal with something or whatever. You know, I was always happy for him, but I always had this feeling of like, I started when he started. He is here and I am here. Therefore, I am a failure. So I couldn't enjoy watching what he did. Dude, that guy came down to fucking New York and got passed at every club in one night. I've never seen anybody do that. He went in and just fucking leveled. And that shit we were just talking to DC Benny about, how Steinberg and Frosty used to try to bury you. I remember one of them going, we couldn't bury Dane. No matter who we put him on after, we could not bury this guy. And he would fucking... And I remember being on the subway talking to him, going, dude, do you realize what you just did? You just in one night passed like 10,000 fucking comedians. And he's just like, hey, you know, you come down, you just positive. And I would just be like listening to him. I was like, is that how you do it?
Come down, motherfucker.
Yeah, because I was just like, yeah, I fucking hate myself and I can't stop. I just had you suck playing, which like looking back, it's so fucking funny. It's like, how was I supposed to get anywhere? You know, and I had that in my head. I think I got townies because I didn't want it. It was too big. And so I just went in there like, I don't want to get this shit. I just came, hey, how's it going? Hey, zip-a-duppa-doo-ba-duppa-dee. I like this guy. He's got this relaxed confidence.